it's. I mean, we've heard so many times when you look at this, when you hear this guy and he says, you know what, he says the right things. You see the potential on him at times when he makes some of these plays, and you just hope that that experience that he's gathered over this offseason, the experience of playing, starting those games, you just hope that he basically does something with that. Because if he really does, I think if he improves himself, 4,600, I think 4,600 total yards is the way to look at when you look at 4,000 passing, 600 yards rushing, because we want that passing offense to throw a little bit more. I think that's a good number. If he achieves that, I think this team wins at least around the playoffs. I really do. If he doesn't, if he falls somewhere short, I'm not talking about 45, 5'9". No, Chris, you're wrong. No, but if he goes somewhere around the same type of output that he had last year, then that's where I think you start to see the questions more, and we start talking about, hey, are they going to trade those 2 first-round draft picks for another quarterback?
You got Birds 365 here on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. Have a nice shortened week, everybody. Yeah, no 5 day, only 4 this week. Hope you enjoyed your entire Memorial Day weekend. Glad to be back on Birds 365 for you. When we go away for 3 days, it seems like, damn, got to get back to work. We're not paying enough attention to the Eagles. We are today. John and I have already been talking about them. We bring in a third expert to talk Eagles football with us. He does it for NJ.com. He's our buddy Chris Franklin. And I got to be honest with you here. He's got the microphone in front of his neck. I thought he had a tie on. I was going to go, wait a minute. I know we're back to work, but Franklin's wearing a tie?
Yeah.
We wear T-shirts on a day-in, day-out basis. Why the hell you so dressed up?
Well, sometimes, you gotta be chic, to be on Paradise. I gotta make sure I was ready for this, and it's a momentous occasion, so I had to be ready for the occasion.
Formal. Well, it's that tie / microphone, which is going to be on Amazon.
Patent pending, $24.99. It can be yours today on
Very
QVC.
nice.
By the way, over your right shoulder, Chris, we got, I assume you're in the NJ.com newsroom. We got, is that Miles Sanders and Brandon Brooks?
That's the LaShawn McCoy, the snow game. Our photographer
LaShawn
Tim Hawk
McCoy.
took the shot.
All I saw was, I thought I saw 26 and 79, so I can't see it that well. So it's Todd Harrimans and Shady McCoy. All right.
Yep, from the snow game. Yeah, Tim Hawk, who's one of our great photographers here. He took that and they blew it up when they first opened this building. And I figured, why not go on the other side of the building today just to try some?
See, I was thinking current Eagles. Yeah, but that's even better.
That's cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about the current Eagles, Chris, and on-field OTAs. Exciting. They start today. We're not going to be in there until later in the week. But you mentioned some things about this time of year. What particularly do you want to see out of the Eagles, or what do you find interesting about these OTAs? Number one, the scale back. No team drills. It's all 7-on-7. Are we getting closer to flag football, 7-on-7?
I would, the way the referees and everything else are calling it, I thought we were already there. Just had the pads and the helmets, but I'm really looking forward to this actually when it comes, especially to 7-on-7, because I think, especially with this team, I think two of the things that they had to worry about last year was the passing offense and then the secondary. And when you look at this now, you got them going head to head, and they're much improved. I mean, you have AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, and Quez Watkins going against James Bradbury and Vontae Maddox and Darius Slay. I mean, that's everyday practice. I'm really looking forward to seeing that, and I'm looking to see how much Jalen Hurts improved with his, see what things he tweaked, and so I'm really looking forward to 7-7. I know it's not the traditional time, but hey, let the linemen work their things out on the other side of the field. I want to see those passing aspects of the game.
All right, we've been going for yucks here, so I'm going to go for a couple more. When you get in there for OTAs on Friday, positioning is key. Who is the guy that you want to make sure you're nowhere near? That you want to be positioned somewhere. He's either too loud, or he's always got the phone going, or he's talking to somebody else. Who do you want to stay away from?
Right.
You go in, you let him get his spot, and you go exactly the opposite direction. Who's
Chris,
that guy?
I'm going to help Chris with this one. He already got rid of him with Mike K.
No.
Hey, shot. All right.
No. I miss my role by my tag team partner. No, but when overall, it depends on what move Fletcher Cox is in. Because if he's
I'm talking to other media guys.
He wants you to rip. He wants you to rip.
You got another guy on blast on the Eagles beat. That's what
I
I'm
know
attempting to do.
exactly.
You can beg off if you want and say, Jody,
I know him.
It's the guy who sits to the left of you, Chris. In the
I will
media
not
house.
confirm nor deny that, but also I think it's the guy who sits in my seat. I think it's the guy who sits in my seat mainly. I think that Chris Franklin guy, he's annoying. Sometimes he sits around you. He's like, why is he mumbling so much? What are you trying to project? Chris, project. But yeah, that's that guy. That's the guy I don't like. He's annoying.
Chris is too nice of a guy to rip. But there's plenty. There's plenty to choose from.
No comment. I was kidding. Everybody's been real chill. I lucked out since I've been here. I've lucked out. So I've been on it as an outsider looking in at first. I was like, what am I getting myself into? But when you start to get to know people, it's like, oh wow, they're not that bad. But for appearance sake, no, we're tough. We're no. You can't mess with us. Philly media, what?
All right, I tried to get you to beat up on one of your brethren. You won't do it. You got too much class. So let's get the guys on the field. Jalen Hurts. For Jalen, the last month, 6 weeks, thereabouts, it's actually been okay because as soon as the season ended and the Eagles didn't advance in the playoffs, everyone started with, the quarterback's not good. We got to get a better quarterback. Let's talk about making a trade for a big-time quarterback. When the Eagles have done what they've done during this offseason, it's kind of taken Jalen off the front burner and put him on the back burner because the Eagles have done a nice job growing their roster and getting better at several different positions. Will he jump directly right back to not only the front burner, but front and center on the stage starting this week because we all know the importance of the quarterback position? Does it become all about Jalen Hurts again this week?
I think so. He's going to have the biggest. Basically, the microscope's going to be on him the whole entire time. I think because you have the nice shiny new pieces around him. You have the offense. You have everything else and some new things. But when you look overall, it's always going to come back to the quarterback. Especially for a year where everybody's basically putting on him, saying, "Hey, this team has the pieces. Now they have to go make a decent run in the playoffs, not Super Bowl wise, but at least win a playoff game. And to do that, you have to start with the quarterback position. And with Hurts, all the questions surrounding him, all the scrutiny that's going to be placed on, I think everything is going to be on him when it comes to this. So it's going to ramp up, I think, immediately. And I know it's going to happen. The first overthrow, oh my goodness, he's on. The first perfect pass, oh my God, he's the one that's there. It's going to be actually, it's a steady, instead of it being like from snap to snap, you just basically have to look overall for the whole entire training camp. But I have a feeling it's going to be that way. You're going to hear a lot of, hey, he looks amazing. He's a top 3 quarterback to, oh my goodness, why is this guy in here? It's going to be, I think it's going to be one of those off seasons.
Do you think it's fair, Chris, in the fact that I think people look at this team and say now after the offseason additions that they have everything in place if Jalen Hurts performs to the level that he should. This should be a not only a playoff team, but a team that can make a significant run. Do you think people are underrating Jalen Hurts and overrating number 2 through 53 on the roster, or you think it's fair? You think it's, as Jalen Hurts, if he performs well, this is going to be a really good football team?
I think that's a fair assessment. I think when you look at everything, I know, and when I look at this offense and you have a running game, it's established that you have that running game that it was finished number 1 overall last year. You have that in place. You look at AJ Brown, who you can stretch the field with and opens up so much other space. Now you just need the guy to basically choreograph that and make sure you just put the ball in a position to do so. And that's where I think it really does all come down to Jalen Hurts. And we've heard so many times when you look at this, when you hear this guy and he says, you know what, he says the right things. You see the potential on him at times when he makes some of these plays, and you just hope that experience that he's gathered over this offseason, the experience of starting those games, you just hope that he basically does something with that. Because if he really does, I think if he improves himself, 4,600 total yards is the way to look at when you look at 4,000 passing, 600 yards rushing, because you will want that passing offense to throw a little bit more. I think that's a good number. If he achieves that, I think this team wins at least a round in the playoffs. I really do. If he doesn't, if he falls somewhere short, I'm not talking about 45, 5'9". No, Chris, you're wrong. No, but if he goes somewhere around the same type of output that he had last year, then that's where I think you start to see the questions more, and we start talking about, hey, are they going to trade those 2 first-round draft picks for another quarterback?
All right, Chris, will we be able to dodge something that is I've had to deal with for the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years doing shows on WIP before Birds 365? The overstatement of Eagle wide receivers. And sometimes it's to blame you guys who cover the team. The Eagle fans who get a short peek at preseason practices, the few, the proud, the limited. But every year there seems to be a guy who people overestimate because of what he does in shorts and a t-shirt. Oh, the great routes that he's running, the hands that he's showing. And then we find out Nelson Aguilar is still Nelson Aguilar, and that Jalen Reagor is Jalen Reagor, and JJ Arcega-Whiteside when the games start. There's always a guy that is getting too much buzz prior to the season starting, and then he disappoints during the season. I don't see that guy on the roster this year. Does A.J. Brown take that all away? Because we know what A.J. Brown can do. He's done it elsewhere, and he's just bringing that resume to Philadelphia. Or are we going to be talking about Brian Covey or Kerrick Wheatfall? Is there going to be a guy this year that is blatantly overrated because of what he shows in activities rather than just practices, which start today? Will there be an Eagle wide receiver who fills that void?
I think it's you mentioned one of them. I think Britton Covey's one, and I also think Devin Allen's going to be the other one because Allen, especially with the whole Olympic thing, everybody's going to be watching him a lot, and everybody's going to see the speed and go, "Oh my goodness, this guy has to get there!" And then he's going to make one catch, he's going to make one guy miss, and he's going to buzz like, "Oh my goodness, the Eagles found their new third wide receiver. Get rid of Quez, get rid of Zach Pascal, get rid of all these guys." I think we're going to see that. And then it's going to come back down to earth a little bit. And, oh, no, we always knew all along that it was Quez, and it was always it's going to be that natural. I think there's going to be one guy. I really think Covey's going to be that guy this year. Just looking at the way that he played when he was at Utah, I like the way that he catches the ball. I like the way that he can make people miss. I like the way he works in space. So, I know I'm probably going to have to be the one that has to pump the brakes on that guy. But I think there's going to be a couple guys you'll see, and then when you start to see the preseason game, everybody's going to look at that Miami Dolphins game, the one that's not going to mean anything toward the end because it's the third. I think you'll start to see it really reach a fever pitch around there.
I think, Chris, whoever the third receiver is going to be, and I think it's going to be Quez, I think it's going to be a disappointment for this reason. You got to get the football to A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert. I can't worry about my third receiver when I have those three guys. And by the way, I had Kenny Gainwell in as the third down back and the hurry up back who can catch the football really well. We talked about it with Doug before Nick got here. We talked about it with Nick all the time. When you game plan in the passing part of it, you generally game plan for two players first and foremost. For Doug, it was always Alshon Jeffrey and Zach Ertz. For Nick, it was Dallas Goedert and Devontae Smith. Now it's got to be A.J. Brown and whomever. But, that means there's less touches for the guys that ball down. And one of my favorite Doug explanations were Mac Hollins. People would ask, why can't Mac Hollins touch a football? What if you game plan for Mac Hollins, you'd fire the coach, right? When you have other players, can Quez Watkins live up to the hype? Because he's not going to get the opportunity to live up to hype. Is I guess my question.
I think it can. I think whoever fills that third role, I think Quez has it. I agree with. I think Quez has it, but I think whoever has a third role has a chance to have probably some of the more impactful snaps and deep shots. I think overall, but I think when you look at way the defensive coordinators, you're right. They're going to start looking at A.J. Brown. They're going to start looking at Smith, and they're going to start looking at Goddard. Okay, well, you're going to have a one-on-one matchup with probably a safety, and if you get lucky, sometimes maybe a linebacker that has to run over and go, oh no, and you got to run out to the slot real quick. So I think, especially if Quez, we all know he can run that 9 route, that deep route. We know he can run those skinny posts and everything else. If Quez shows that he's refined in the middle of there, you don't need to throw him. I don't think you don't need to make sure. We got to make sure you get 10 targets to Quez Watkins. If you just get 1 or 2 and take a shot at a game, and I think defense are going to have to respect that. And if you get one-on-ones with them, you got to go with it. So I think it's not going to be so much as when it comes to numerical targets, I think when you look at the overall deep shots they're going to have with him on the inside and slotting against the safety, I think that's where you can take advantage of him a lot.
Chris, I got a cross-training question for you, and it's something John and I discussed probably with you too when you upped on with us last year, and I kind of complained about it. Kenneth Gainwell not being lined up as a wide receiver. There's one thing to come out of the backfield and catch a pass coming out from behind the quarterback. There's no one actually lining up as a wide receiver, slot, outside, wherever. And the Eagles didn't do any of that last year, or it was so infrequent that you didn't even notice it. I get it. He was a rookie, and they didn't want to put too much on his plate. They didn't want to ask too much of him. Making the transition to the NFL is enough. Now you want him to make a transition to the wide receiver. This year, it's year 2. It shouldn't be too much to ask of him, but there's less of a need because you went out and got A.J. Brown. How much cross-training did they do with Kenneth Gainwell lining up as a wide receiver?
I still think we'll see it. I think when you look at what you have on the running back roster, I know he has RB in front of his name, but I think they'll still do it a lot because he's basically going to be your receiving back. I think when you look at the red, even when the final totals in the red zone, I think you can still trust Boston Scott down there in the red zone because he just puts one foot in and he goes straight. Miles Sanders, I think, will get a little bit better for that. But when it comes to Kenneth Gainwell, you pretty much know you're going to bring him on third down in the passing game. So I'm going to keep him on the outside and basically focus on, hey, you know what? This is your role in the team. We want you to do the best job you can at doing this role. Make sure you work on those swing passes. Make sure you work on his precise route running. So you get him. I know I keep talking about route running one-on-one with linebackers. You get him on a running back running that Texas route on the inside. That's a win. 7 times out of 10, you should win that matchup with him because of his speed and his ability to get his hands. So I'd probably say do to keep what's working with him, especially with him in that way. Then you bring him once in a while. Just if you want to run a jet sweep, if you want to run the outside zone, he still's got those instincts from his college days, so he can go that way.
Speaking of cross training, Chris, want your thoughts on the shift in the coaching, the positional coaching on the defensive side of the football. So Jeremiah Washburn is sort of coaching the overhang players, as Jonathan Gannon likes to call them, Tracy Rocker, the interior defensive lineman, and then Nick Rollis, essentially the inside linebackers, the Will, the Mike. Sounds like more of the way a 3-4 team sets up its coaching staff versus a 4-3 team. Are we read into that, or are those just antiquated terms in the modern NFL? And everybody's using hybrid fronts. Which do you lean towards?
I think everybody's a lot more odd man fronts. I think you keep hearing over under, like they're running a 3-4, 4-3 under and all that stuff for it. I think I still look at it in a traditional sense. I still think it's truly a 3-4 type. Now I think we'll see more 3, and I think we'll even see a lot more five man sets as well too, because basically when it comes to that outside linebacker, that those defensive ends, they pretty much are playing like outside linebackers. You see them once in a while drop back into the flat area. You don't want to see it all the time. I'm a little worried about Brandon Graham dropping back there over and over, but you see it so much. So I think it makes sense, and it makes sense to do that. And I think they're going to be playing a lot more 3 runs. And then when you have the 5-1 defense, I mean, Hassan Reddick was used to playing it back when he was with the Panthers because he was an edge guy. I think it just brings so much uncertainty. You don't know where the rush is coming from. You're trying to make the defense declare late. By then, it gets into your checks and everything else. I think overall, we'll see a lot more of those 3 and 5 man fronts. So it makes sense to have a different room for those guys to get their assignments and learn a little bit better.
Whatever the fronts are, whatever the schemes are, Epsie's getting a lot of run this year. And John's been talking up Epsie since last year. I got to give him credit. He was on the Epsie bandwagon before most others. The Eagles seem to be now fully on the Epsie bandwagon. That's the only position on the team that the Eagles, in my opinion, haven't upgraded by bringing someone in from the outside, be it either free agency and or the draft. You want to tell me Blankenship's going to be a star? I need to see that with my own 2 eyes. Are you as big an Epsie fan as my partner Johnny Mack is? It seems like he's going to be on the field a lot for the Eagles this year. Is he up to the task?
I still have some questions about him. I think when he filled in last year, he did a decent job for playing both safety positions. I wonder about when it comes to sustaining it for a long term, because when you're in a short term, it's pretty much sometimes you're gonna get your opportunity, it's fine, cool, but you don't know if the starter's coming back. Like, okay, when I get this, so I better get some good tape on there just so I know if in case another team wants me. The fact that the Eagles continually looked at Marcus Williams and Tyrann Mathieu and they struck out both times, that to me is still they're just almost seems like they're trying to talk themselves to, no, Epps is the guy we knew all along. Epps is the guy to fill out that safety thing. And I look at I still have my questions about him, and I wouldn't be surprised if Chuck Clark still wants out of Baltimore, it gets closer towards the end of training camp. Do you do a player for player swap? Do you use Isaac Seumalo as a chip? Do you use Jalen Reagor as a chip? I would, if Epps looks like he's slowing down, I wouldn't be surprised to do that. I wouldn't be surprised all the way up through the trade deadline if the Eagles look like they're a contender and Epps is the one guy. I wouldn't be surprised they try to upgrade that spot too. So I still have my little questions on him, but it's for me, it's still a wait and see on that.
No Epsy love from Chris Franklin. We're going to remember that. I'm going to say this.
Go in the line. Good for you, Franklin.
The Eagles might bring in a safety, but if they bring in a safety, it'll be to replace Anthony Harris, not Marcus Epps. That's my thought process. But I want to stay on the defensive side of the ball. For the additions, significant additions, obviously, Jordan Davis up front, Hassan Reddick, overhang player. You have Kaiser White, Nakobe Dean at linebacker. Of those four sort of big name additions, James Bradbury, I forgot. Who is the most impactful on the 2022 Eagles?
Is probably the most, and not to call defensive lineman boring, but probably the most boring one, a defensive tackle, but for the reasoning. But I think Jordan Davis is, when you look at what he can do, it's a trickle down effect when you added Jordan Davis. Because I look at him and now you can do so much other stuff. Because just adding him, I think you have to commit two offensive linemen to him, to blocking him just because of his speed and his size. So you're doing that, it just frees up a defensive lineman here or there. You just frees up a linebacker rushing up somewhere else, and you need that effect from the inside. And you had J. Von Hargrave last year, the decent. Fletcher Cox, you're still waiting to see what you're going to get out of him for this year. You add Jordan Davis to that now, and you get a true push from the middle of the field next to Hargrave or Cox. It affects so much other stuff, and I think that it's going to help. I think it's going to overall help that sack total from last year. I don't think we'll see 29. They get 40. I know that's average compared to last year, but 40 for this defense, it should be doable, given the defensive line. It should be doable with all the people they have up front. And then that gives time. I think that affects also the secondary too. So, and the overall defense. So I think Jordan Davis is the guy that's the most impactful.
All right, Franklin, I tried to put you on the spot earlier. I'm going to do it again. You don't have to dime out any of your fellow Eagle reporters, but I'm going to make you analyze the quarterbacks. I remember going to a Jet Open practice years ago, where the fans were allowed in, and I would usually make my way over to talk to some of the fans, some I could actually recognize as callers on my show on FAN. And one guy said to me, Jody, I've been here the last however many days in a row for all the practices. Are you telling me we're really going to start this Pennington guy instead of Vinny Testaverde? Because Vinny could still, even an older Vinny, he could just flat out spin it. He could throw it. He was a statue back there, couldn't move to save his life, but he could still cock it and throw it. Eagles quality arm talent in camp this year. Put them in an order for me. Reed Stinnett, Carson Strong, Gardner, and Jalen Hurts. Will people be second guessing the fact that Jalen Hurts doesn't throw it as well as one of his backups, or will he have the best arm in camp?
Ooh. If you're looking at pure arm talent, Hurts, Strong, Minshew, Sinnett.
Okay.
I think Reed Sinnett's cut. I mean, just he'll be
on the roster now. You can't cut him. He's on the roster
now.
Yeah.
And
he's getting this
nice
weekend.
That's
for
the worst
sure.
part about it. He's nice. But I think overall, when you look at head to head, I think Strong's winning out that third thing just because of the guaranteed money, because of what he could be. I think he's your bona fide QB2 next season or let him grow in that role. They'll say they'll have I think next season, 2023, you'll see, oh, well, we'll have a competition for the backup, but it's going to be Carson Strong, I think. But I think overall, when you look at overall arm talent, see, I think Hurts is he has a good arm. He's not going to, nobody's going to, I don't think he has a Josh Allen arm, but he has a good arm. He can put touches on there. So I don't have a problem with saying he has. I think he's number one when it comes to arm strength and talent, and he does that. Consistency, that's where you question it. But I think overall, Minshew has the accuracy, doesn't have a strong arm at all. So that's why I put him third. Carson Strong has a really strong arm. He can put some touch on it. He's just a statue back there. He's a young Joe Flacco. I don't want to put him with Joe Flacco because at least Flacco led Super Bowl, but he's Flacco-esque, put it that way. So, but in recent that, think he's there. He's there, but he can also he can throw some touch passes. I remember watching him when it was during practices last year. You could see him put the ball in certain, but overall, I think he's 4 out of 4.
Yeah, I would, and I haven't seen him yet, but from reputation alone, I would think it's Carson Strong by a country mile as far as arm talent, but doesn't matter. I mean, it's not just about who's got the strongest arm. You got to be able to do the different things to be a quarterback. As Nick Sirianni always says, you got to have a sort of reach a default level to play in the NFL, right? From an arm perspective. Jalen Hurts reaches that level from the Eagles' perspective, then the accuracy, the decision-making is far more important. But as far as, you mentioned Josh Allen, as far as just pure arm strength and pure arm talent, Carson Strong is supposed to be that guy. I haven't seen it. I assume nobody's wrong. That many people can be that wrong. But I don't expect Carson Strong to do anything. I mean, he, as you mentioned, he's a statue. He's got the bad knee. So I think people get over excited about arm strength. I mean, if arm strength were the only thing, it'd be like every pitcher that can throw 100 miles an hour would be the best pitcher in baseball. It doesn't necessarily work that way. So you think that's a little bit overhyped as far as you got to have that Josh Allen arm? Most people don't have Josh Allen's arm.
I think a lot of it's anticipation. A lot of it's your footwork and your anticipation, because if you know a route and you get a good feel of your receiver, and you know where the area is going to go at, it's also, you just make sure you get your right drop, you get your footwork in the right thing and go, oh, I know I have this spot open. And the key thing is reading the coverages too. I think a lot of guys think you start to see pretty much, especially at the youth level and younger in the college level, is a lot of it's cover 3 or man to man. Okay, well, if I know it's going to be one of those, I pick the right thing. I know I'm going to throw. And especially when you get to this defense now, where you have one half of the side playing like a cover 3 and the other half playing a 2 or whatever it may, like, what the heck is going on here? It's once you get that feel down and you get the anticipation down and you start to read those defenses, then it just comes. It doesn't matter arms, it's just anticipation and just knowing where you have to throw the ball and what area you have to throw it to. It's almost got to a point now where if you throw it in a certain area, you can just throw it blindly almost there. You don't want to do it as much because you don't know what's different, but you can almost throw it blindly to that area. You just expect your receiver to be there and to make a play. So I think it's a lot that plays a big role into it.
All right, brother. Need you to look into your crystal ball, CF, for me.
Let me get it real quick.
All right, get that crystal ball.
Let's see.
As far as playing time goes for 2 2020 draft picks for the Philadelphia Eagles, both have had some run but been limited because of injuries. Both defensive players. Who gets more field time this year? Davion Taylor or Kayvon Wallace?
I go Kayvon Wallace.
Ooh.
And the reason why is Kayvon Wallace. I wouldn't be surprised if they use like a big nickel thing, that they use that one. And I think it's going to be like a couple. I think both of them mostly play special teams. That's the only reason why I think when you look at that. But the Davion Taylor thing is frustrating because you see he has the athletic part, the potential of it. You see he picks up parts of the game, and you start to see it's like stuff starts to click a little bit. And when he's right there to really make a play. He's really gonna be impact. Then he's out. His injury. Wallace, he's more of a box safety. I know. I see him more as a run stuffer than that one, but given that this history, the injury, or what happened last year. We saw what happened with the safeties. I know it was Malcolm Jenkins-Anthony. They missed some time. If one was missing time, I think Wallace is the next guy up. So that's why I probably put Kayvon Wallace more than Devon Taylor. But I think we'll both see him on kickoff and punt teams more often, honestly.
At C Franklin News, ChrisFranklinNJ.com. So Jody went there, prediction. I'll keep the crystal ball out. I'm going to go prediction back to the offensive side of the ball because there's not a lot of uncertainty with the offense, Chris. We know 4 of the 5 offensive linemen. We know the quarterback. We know it's going to be Sanders and Gainwell. We talked about the receivers, Dallas Goedert at tight end. So it's really who's going to start at right guard and who's going to be the backup tight end to Dallas Goedert.
I think Jack Driscoll is going to wind up winning that job out.
Oh, you're as crazy as he is. Isaac is the man. Isaac is healthy. He's going to be the right
crazy as me or Jack Driscoll?
Stop getting Eagle fans all worked up into a lather. Isaac Seumalo is going to be their right guard. It's not 4 out of 5. It's 5 out of 5. The Eagle offensive line is said. Isaac Seumalo is going to be their right guard.
By the way,
don't make Eagle fans crazy with this.
Mike Kay, who I mentioned, I'm going to mention him again. He just put out his post June 1st potential cuts for the Pro Football Network. Isaac Seumalo is on that list. Blame Mike Kay, Jody McDonald.
Not happening. Mike Kay. I don't. You, Mike Kay, the 3 of you guys, after Isaac plays a good first game of the season, opening night, you're all going to have to say, we're sorry to all you Isaac Seumalo fans, which I'm one, for even contemplating having a season with Isaac not being locked in at right guard for the Eagles.
I'm not thrilled. I didn't say I was thrilled about Driscoll, but I just look at the way everything's filled out. I question about his durability, and I think he's a better tackle than he is guard.
Seumalo gets hurt, Driscoll gets hurt, and it's Sua Opeta. How about that?
Oh, or can I see? I don't see. The thing is, I don't have a problem with Sua. I really don't. I think for what he is, I think it like that. I like Seumalo a lot. It's just a matter of he's more of a left guard. He played. I know he played right guard. I think it's like 2018, 2019. He played a couple snaps or something like that. There,
he played right tackle. He's played everywhere. Isaac's very versatile.
And I think so. He's a big part. He's helped Jordan Mailata talk about how much he's helped him out there. I just think. I would be surprised if he uses a trade chip, if anything. Granted, but a general manager say like, "Oh wow," if we're talking about it, general manager probably like, "Oh, they're just going to release him and trade him." So,
they're not trading Isaac.
Tight end 2, Chris Franklin.
Tight end 2. I'll go on a limb. I'll say Grant Calcaterra. I think because when you look at true tight ends, I know you still have Richard Rodgers on there. I see Richard Rodgers on there. Jay Jaw, I just don't see him as the guy. And Jack Stoll. I think he's a good third tight end if they want to use him toward the goal line, 3 tight sets. Okay, I'm cool with that. But I think overall, I think Calcaterra is more of a pure guy, especially if they're going to throw a little bit more. Then that's your guy. That's your guy. I think you use in a route run. I think he'll be surprising from that one too. They do need a blocking, a pure blocking tight end. That's why I think Rodgers sticks around there or Stoll improves in that area. But I'll go Calcaterra too.
Last thing for both of you doubters. I'm setting the over-under at games started at right tackle for Isaac Seumalo at 9. So that's more than half of the season because you always got to factor in a little injury because Isaac almost always gets hurt. Over-under 9 starts at right tackle for Isaac Seumalo.
Well, not right tackle. 0 at right tackle. Right guard.
Guard. Right guard. Franklin, over under 9 for Isaac. Started.
I see you guys got the Ocean Casino right behind you. I'm pretty sure they have a sports book. I'm rushing in there and I'm taking that under heavy. I'll put $100 on the under heavy. I'll put 100 on the under on that one.
I would still, Jody jokes. I put it out there. I would still at this stage go over. I think Stoutland wins out. Stout loves Isaac. Nick loves Jack. I think Stoutland likes Jack Driscoll as well.
Right,
but
so Franklin, you're out. You've already gone under. McMullen, what if I move it to 11? Over under starts for him at the right guard position. 11.
He's played 9 games over the past 2 years, so at that point I got to go under.
You're going 11. Under. All right. So the difference between 9 and 11 moves you from under to over. Chris, not going to be getting a Christmas card from Isaac Sayamalo.
He's going to get you blocked. He got me blocked by Zach Pascal. He's going to get you blocked.
Yeah. Don't know if Isaac follows you on any of your social media platforms, but McMullen's right. You're done. Isaac is dropping you like a 2-foot putt, buddy. He's not dropping me because I'm taking the over 9. I'm taking the over the 11. I'm taking over 13. Sam Walu's starting at right guard for the Eagles this year.
I'm not blocked by anybody except for one player's dad. That's it. Everybody else, I guess I'm either I'm not doing it right
one
compared to other
dad.
standards or not.
Who the hell is that? Whose dad blocked you?
I'm going to guess. Can I guess?
Yeah.
I'm going to say Monte Reagor.
Got it. After the where he dropped the when he dropped the pass and against the Cleveland Giants, he dropped that pass when they lost, and I wrote a story about it. Was like it's basically time for to look at elsewhere for wide receiver, and I retweeted, and the next thing you know, like he was following me on Twitter. Next thing you know, later on in the afternoon, looked was like, well, there it is. So I was blocked. Other than that,
yeah, that's
you're not.
I gave Jalen Reagor a ton of credit after that game for coming out and meeting with the media. I gave him a ton of credit for that. Yeah. Especially in the pandemic era where you don't have to. You can hide. We're not in the locker room. I gave him a ton of credit for coming out. He still blocked me. I wouldn't worry about it.
And also, I'll say this as well too. Speaking of Jalen Reagor, I feel bad. I really do feel bad for the guy because you lose two very close friends back to back years. That's rough. And I know we're rough on the guys, but still, like when you look at the personal aspect of it, that's rough, man. And I hope that we look at his friend and he gets better, and his teammates around him, because that's rough. That's rough.
Terrible.
CF, always a pleasure whenever we get you on. We'll see if we can get an even better picture over your left shoulder the next time you join us. He moves around. Sometimes he comes well-dressed, sometimes not. We're never well-dressed, so that's why we can comment on it. Chris Franklin, always a pleasure. Thanks, buddy. We'll get you back in a couple of weeks.
Thanks, guys. I'll get that patent pending on the microphone tie.
There we go.
The microphone tie.
Thanks, Chris.
Coming.